job. So this should be pretty interesting. I wish DJ was here, but DJ is he's not feeling too hot. So I totally get that. I understand that.
Motherfucker got the coronavirus.
Well, he don't need to be on nobody airwaves then. Nope. No, we don't play with the coronavirus around here. Not at all. That thing is something serious. If you really look into, you look at like news from overseas and shit. Like I've been following Taiwanese news and some news that could actually get out of China or whatever.
Yeah.
It seems like it's much worse than what it is, and I think we need to pay a lot of attention to that on the back end. But nevertheless, this is first and Framerates episode 121. Yeah, you gonna speak for me? Or you just
He
gonna
said
look
he
around?
said he said 121.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, episode 121. This episode is basically going to talk about the evolution of Madden since what's been going on from basically the PlayStation 2 days up until now and the different things that have changed. We're going to obviously going to do our XFL picks as well. I mean that's going without saying, so I didn't put that in the title. So I just basically left it the way it is. Um this is I think this is going to be a pretty interesting hour and a half because there's so many ways you can go with this. Not only with just the football game, and then I think one thing as well. I think we can actually get to the root of the problem of why people do what they do when it comes to Madden. Uh, Somebody put out an interesting tweet about it, so I don't think I can find that tweet. Nevertheless, it doesn't really matter. I think it's just going to be interesting all together. But nevertheless, DJ's not here. He says he's not feeling well. He's a little bit under the weather, so he may be in the chat or whatever the case may be down the road. But he's not going to participate because he's not feeling well. Totally understand. But we have Bills here. Bills is going to be with us tonight. So, Bills, let us know how you've been.
I've been busy and tired as shit, but I've been good. I mean, you know, gotta gotta keep pushing. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. The ground don't stop. So I totally understand that.
time waits for absolutely no one. So yeah,
Right.
I've been working nonstop, but it's fulfilling. So
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, you know, when you work hard and you got a goal to achieve, there's so many things that come behind it. You may not see it right now, but it definitely come down the road. So it's very important for people to take that stride and continue to push for what you want. So totally understand. As for me, I just been working, same old, being a father, being a husband, working and trying to grow this podcast. So actually, I've been kind of leaning towards putting more videos out compared to just live streaming. 'Cause live streaming is just is it's not necessarily time consuming, but it's time constraint because I have to put out a stream at a certain time, and it's like it's just much easier for me just to put out a video and just go have at it. So it's just much
hmm
easier. So that's why people haven't seen the streams like I have been doing because as things change, it's just not I'm not able to do it like I want to. So, but still, I got more content coming out on the channel, so be on the lookout for that. You want to get down? I said this at the end of the podcast. On Tuesday, he knows how to walk now, so I have to be
hey,
extra careful with him when I put him down. All of a sudden, he'll be like walking towards the stairs or something.
next thing you know, he's gonna be a running back in South Carolina, yo.
I'm not too bad. I'm not even gonna knock him on that no more. At one point, I hated the chickens, but you know what? I kind of grown out of it. They still the damn chickens, but I'm not as adamant about him not going there. I just prefer him not to go at this point. Boy, they had so many opportunities to do something. They're terrible. What's up, everybody in the chat? Everybody who's here so far. We don't really have a lot of people to come listen, but I feel that we're the best, smallest podcast in the world, hands down, easily. I got some intros that I'm going to actually check into. I'm probably going to start adding to the podcast and maybe on the rendered side once it goes to the iTunes or SoundCloud. The live may not have that intro. But if you are willing to check us out on iTunes and SoundCloud, the links are down in the YouTube description. You can always find us on our Twitter as well. You can find those links as well, or you could just Google them. You can just Google just first and frame rates and whatever search engine you have, it'll work there too. So we're everywhere right now as far as Google and iTunes. We're also on SoundCloud as well. We also have a Discord. Come through the Discord. We talk about sports and gaming as well. That's where we congregate between the live streams, or the podcast episodes. So definitely check us out there as well. So and also all the Twitter handles. I'll put that in the on the banner right now. You can all catch us on Twitter or at the Twitter handles that you see below. Um, where you want to start at with this topic, man? Because it's like it's so many ways we can go with this. Um, I guess for me, I could just start off and say, well, there was a tweet that was put out that basically said that all the old heads are looking for Madden to be a certain way, and they're basically looking at microtransactions and the wow factor. I'm just paraphrasing, and they're basically looking at to just basically nickel and dime people as well as give you really good graphics. Simulation gameplay is there, but it's not the forefront. Let's not kid ourselves. Back then, they actually tried to give you a simulation experience to the point where they had the atmosphere actually felt like quote unquote living worlds. It felt like you were at the stadium. Now it's more like a TV broadcast. I think NYK pointed that out one time in the stream, and he couldn't be more accurate. And with that being a TV broadcast, it kind of like suspends you from actually feel like you're running and owning the team in a franchise mode. But back then, it just felt like you really felt like you were there on the sidelines, even though the camera obviously was behind the players, but it felt like you were there. So that's just one aspect of it. But also in my response to that tweet, I said that 95% of the people that are in the sim community actually played Madden back then on the PS2 and the original Xbox when it was new.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say probably about between 95 and maybe 98%. They played Madden around that time. So, with that being said, it was more like we're a bunch of old heads wanting something back that's probably never going to come back. And it really puts things into perspective of why all this has been going on about certain football games. Is it actually cut in stone if 2K was to make a football game? Would they go that route that they did back in, the PS2 or the original Xbox days? Or even will they go the same route as All Pro Football? Because even as good as NBA 2K is, they have their arcade moments as well. So, but back then they actually tried to thrive for a full on sim. They're not doing that anymore. So it just makes you think. So, um, what are your thoughts about the 95% or the evolution of Madden, where we see from back then where they were actually pushing that now to you see what they're pushing now?
Well, I mean, it just shows that there aren't a lot of hardcore sports fans out there that play video games, because if there were, then they would still be catering to that audience, but there isn't. Um, they've conditioned this audience, this this fan base, to be a casual sports fan base.
I think what you said both. I think it's a combination of both. I think that a lot of the hardcore guys they're still there, but they're not as loud as they used to be. And because of the evolution of the what you call it, the graphics and the shininess of the game, how well it looks. So these companies are pushing that side outside of the actual gameplay. Now, a lot of people want to sit there and say that Madden don't have good gameplay. Madden 20, hell, even some parts of Madden 19 actually played a pretty decent football game. I mean, you can even attest to this. It wasn't that bad of a game as it portrayed, but we obviously know that that's not the forefront. We
I
know that.
think I think the issue with Madden and how it's assessed is that so much of how we assess Madden is based on what it should be, um, instead of what it is a lot of the time.
Right.
And I don't think there's any issue with that. We're consumers.
Right. I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
That's important, but at the same time, I go back to the PS2 days while the movement was great, it was actually pretty hard to square someone up for a tackle based on how the button configurations were and based on how the animations were
The game was fat. The game was
were
kind of
triggering.
faster. The game was kind of faster too.
It was faster, and you didn't see the animations as far as them getting in position to tackle. You would just kind of run towards somebody and collide.
Right.
So that aspect makes the whole game feel a bit different these days. But at the same time, the game has taken a lot of steps back as far as the off the field aspects. Like you said, franchise, of course. Franchise is probably the biggest problem with Madden currently. Um, but more so the movement. The movement is not where it should be. And I think that movement, player movement, is the foundation of any sports game and really any game where a player is moving around, running, jumping, etc., etc.
Right.
So, when we talk about the evolution of Madden, yes, they pretty much are the base equivalent of most sports games graphically in this generation, but gameplay wise, they're kind of par for the course.
Yeah, I think when you look at what we have with Madden now, what we have with Madden now is basically a situation with the gameplay is just basically on par with what they're just putting out compared to what it could be.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
it's it,
it's
it, it's more of a situation where the evolution of visuals is actually way. I mean, there's no doubt there's way better. Maybe even in some cases you could say that the gameplay is somewhat better because the type of animations that are there based on the lack of animations back on the PS2 original Xbox. So as
mm-hmm,
far as the gameplay could be, you can make an argument that it's better. The problem was with the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox, and even in some cases with the PS3 and 360 version of Madden, the
mm-hmm.
atmosphere and the immersiveness was definitely there back then. It is non-existent now. Well, I'll say it's not non-existent. It's just not where it is. It's definitely lacking,
I
and
would say
that's
one can. I would say one can make the argument that over time, when that bank and that pool of animations builds up, that naturally you would have better animations for contact and things of that nature and transitional animations.
right.
Um,
You would think that'd be the case.
right. Over time, they would just naturally build up. But then another thing that we have to take into account is the fact that they've been running on the same engine for far too long,
Right.
which is part of the reason why they can kind of have this steady release in similar quality and gameplay year to year, where there's no significant jump. Even to the point where certain years they'll just fix shit, and that'll be the
Right.
game, gameplay
Right.
wise,
And,
which is an
and,
issue.
and that's the thing is like with all these new animations that they have in Madden. The problem is another thing; those animations don't trigger. You have to have
The
people
logic,
like
yeah.
yeah. You need a lot of people that do sliders to trigger certain animations,
Mm-hmm.
to trigger certain jukes or spins or tackles. Definitely tackles and catches. You need
Yeah.
sliders definitely to trigger the tackles and catches more than anything. So with that being said, it's like with the Maddens back then before this evolution came, the Maddens back then they had these animations hidden for certain players because of their rating. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember like Calvin Johnson, or let's say when you made Julio Jones on Madden 08 PC or whatever
Yeah.
the case may be, they would trigger a one-handed catch that no other receiver would have unless if they were like a 98 or a 97 catching. Like
Right.
now, everybody has this particular animation, and it's like it kills the immersiveness of said player. You kind of see what I'm saying? It's
And
like
yeah, and this year was the first year where you started to see a bit of a differentiation
right.
in quarterbacks since you're talking Madden 10. But
I would be generous and say Madden 13. They tried to
yeah,
do it. They tried to do it.
but the issue then becomes once again the player movement is a huge issue. Um, they talked about having certain running animations not trigger for other guys, right?
Right.
But then the thing about it is when you're not using the right stick, we need to see better foot planning and more realistic, you know, slowing down, speeding up, decelerating, accelerating, et cetera, the way we saw it release day Madden 19. We've
Right.
stressed this. They had it right.
Right.
So until they get that, then because Madden 19 release day was the first time people said, okay, this shit looks different.
Well, I would even say Madden 18 because that was the first year they had first year they used frostbite.
Yeah,
The running backs actually got skinny when they went through the line of scrimmage. So
that's true.
the game felt different in 18. 19 kind of
19 had the foot planning though,
right.
with like, you know,
Yeah, they
yeah.
actually put the foot planning back in the game where it was on par with 25, and
Right.
then that one patch came in and it was gone and never came back.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it feels like people. I don't think people really get how much player movement means to a
Any
video
game,
game.
any sports game for that matter.
Go and play GTA 5, and then go and play GTA 4.
Yeah. And that's not even a sports game, but you could tell
Right.
a immediate difference between not even movement, but the way the cars move in the game as well.
Or go and play Madden 25, and don't even play a game. Just
Just go to practice and run the
go to
ball.
practice mode. Exactly. Go to practice mode and run the ball, and you'll see how much more weight it feels like the running backs have, but at the same time, how much control you feel when you're turning and how
Man, I
seamless
don't
it
know if I
looks.
even have those clips anymore because I don't have my Xbox One anymore. But I went back to
Mm-hmm.
play Madden 25 on my Xbox One, and the foot planting. I was posting clips on Twitter about it. The foot
Mm-hmm.
planting and the way the players move when they're running the ball, it looks so beautiful. I just don't understand how they devolved from that.
Well, we remember we know how you. All you gotta do is go and look at that IGN review for Madden 25.
Oh
Those
yeah,
motherfuckers struck, and that was it.
yeah, because he the one got mad because the running was too realistic. Go figure.
Right.
I don't understand that, but to be honest with you, I don't have my PS4 Pro or my Xbox One, but I may get the PS4 Pro just to play Madden 25 again. I do miss playing that. All right, you can give me a high five.
Yeah. I mean,
All right,
uh,
my son is a mess.
it's just it's it's sad the state of affairs that we're in with football video games where something great will be put in the game. And it kind of gives me hope, I guess, with the quarterback animations in Madden 20. They pretty much were steadfast about that. They were steadfast about the pass rush. But Jesus Christ, put the movement back in.
I think the problem is with these games. For some reason, they can't keep everything in game. For some reason, it's like even with NBA 2K, they try their best to keep the most in the game during each patch, but for the most part, it's like there's little small things that's taken out when they patch something. Madden
Yeah.
has this egregious ability to take things completely out of a game. I don't understand how they do it, but
No, I haven't played 2K20 obviously in months.
right.
Is it any different than it was when I stopped playing it?
Oh, I just bought it on Saturday,
Okay.
so I don't know anything. I played 3 games in it, and the games are great. So I
Right.
don't know what it was like during the release. But as far
Okay.
as I know, 2K20, I don't know what people were talking about. Maybe the beginning of the cycle when the game first came out, it was terrible. But right now, it plays a pretty good game of basketball.
I don't see I didn't get that because folks were talking about how every time a patch would come out, the game would feel different. But me, I never felt any difference with the game. That might have been because I was playing with my roster. I didn't start playing until I finished my roster.
I have no idea.
Um,
I know for certain. I know Madden, not Madden, but NBA 2K19 was the game that I knew that I don't remember too many updates in that game, but the game felt pretty solid all year.
yeah, 19 was good. 20 was even better. I
So
still think
I like I said, I just bought 19. I mean, I just bought 20 for. I think 20 was like $20 because of All Star break.
right.
So I bought it for $20 on Steam, and I played 3 games. I think it plays a pretty good game, but as of right now, I still think 19 is better. But I played 19 throughout the entire season last year.
I still think they need to fire or demote whoever the hell their ratings guy is. But I mean, other
Right.
than that, 2K20 was, I could say, Probably the second best sports game this year.
Yeah,
I think Pez was number one. But 2K20 is right behind it.
yeah. I mean, I'm not a bit. I don't know too much about PES myself, but I can attest that 2K20 is pretty solid in my opinion.
The thing that impresses me about Pez the most, not to get off track, but the thing that impresses me the most about Pez is the fact that people who don't even watch or play soccer play it and they're like, holy shit, this game is just so like it's almost like I'm watching it. Um and that's a true testament to how simulation Pez is. They've come a long way. An extremely long way. So
My mic was muted. I don't know why. Don't ask.
oh no, you good.
It just went out of nowhere. It was muted. I was looking like, why is my mic muted? But anyway, my son is getting restless. He may try to go to sleep on me.
I heard
But
him. He's
yeah, he's laying down right now. But circle back to Madden is just
yeah.
that when we look at the community itself, and I know we haven't talked about this in a while because I've been straying away from Madden for at least the last 20, maybe 15 episodes. I think this is a good time to talk about it because of the tweet I talked about earlier. You getting sleepy? I'm gonna take you downstairs in a second. And my thing was like with the community now, like how do we what is the community really doing? Because we see the evolution of Madden going a certain way, but we're still striving for something that was back then. I don't think it's going to happen. So what are we doing? Come on, baby. Oh.
Well, to answer your question, I think the community's in a bit of a cool down phase right now with Madden.
Not really, if you think about it, but
I mean, I'm talking as far as like widespread the community. I mean, I think we're in that cool down phase. We're kind of waiting for these next gen consoles to see exactly what's happening with the game. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't feel now. Obviously, I'm not on Twitter, but
I'm gonna go get him a bottle. Keep talking.
Okay, so yeah, for everyone listening, like I'm not really on Twitter like that. Well, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I'm not on Twitter at all anymore. But even when I was on Twitter, it seemed like people weren't talking about Madden nearly as much. They weren't playing Madden nearly as much as the first couple months. Now that could be for a number of reasons, whether it was the quality of gameplay going down or the fact that football season was winding down. But either way, I don't know, the community, they kind of, in a way, have united in the fact that they don't give a fuck about Madden to a certain extent. But at the same time, when it comes down to Madden season coming back around, there's still not a united front as far as how people feel about the game. And I think that's part of the issue. That's why we don't get the game that we want year in and year out. The fight. See, the thing was, back in the PS2 days, there weren't all these fucking casuals, right? But more importantly, the casuals didn't have a central place to voice their displeasure with sim aspects being in the game.
All right, what timeline are we talking about?
So we're talking about back in PS2 days.
Okay, back in PS2 days, go ahead and keep finishing. I'm gonna speak on the casuals about then back then.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying they didn't have a forum like they do now with Twitter where they can voice their displeasure in sim aspects, much like we didn't have a forum where we could voice our displeasure as far as anything in the game, whether it was not sim or complimenting things that were in the game that were sim. We just bought video games and played them. And honestly, I wish we went back to them fucking days, but it's too late.
I think I'm gonna give you my 2 cents about the casual gamers and let's say hardcore Madden players back then. Casual gamers basically played the games and they accepted what it was. They didn't complain because PS2 Madden, and this is the reason why Madden back then was so popular. The hardcore Madden ones was the ones that you saw on the Madden bus. Those are the ones that used to go to not only the midnight releases, those are the ones that used to compete in tournaments that they used to have throughout the like your local malls, or if they had them at a BB, not BB but EB games, or
Hmm.
uh baggages or whatever, or those
Right.
game stores, FYE. They're the ones that, those are your hardcore ones. The casual ones played Madden and they loved it for what it was. Even, if you can even go back to the forums, because I'm pretty sure some of them are still up, way back in 2004, maybe 2003. If you could find like a Madden forum back then, there wasn't a level of complaining back then. I think everybody knew their lane and they played the games for what it was. The problem is now, the main problem, and this is what I was getting into, the evolution of Madden. PS3 and 360 Madden started to give you gimmicks. And the gimmicks made the casual ones step away from, okay, you got a football game, you're going to learn how to play football, you're going to enjoy football, till it got to the point where, let's say 2008, who was one of the top guys back then, a Reggie Bush, or you had a Vince Young, or whatever the case may be. Reggie Bush was really fast. So what they did was they highlighted certain players so you can be that player in the game. It wasn't, see, back then it was just a cover athlete. The cover athlete was that guy. Now it was like, it wasn't the cover athlete back then. I mean, once it evolved to the 360, it was more like, hey, look what this guy's doing in the game. And the casual stepped away from learning the team instead of just, and then all of a sudden they wanted to try to be the player. That's one of the reasons why you saw the superstar mode start to come in, the road to glories. You started seeing those things. And the little gimmicks that started to make people attracted to those gimmicks and not the football. PS4 and Xbox One just went all out, because if you remember at the end of the cycle, the season play aspect, and then you turn around and you had a little bit of microtransactions here and there. NCAA football started doing microtransactions with recruiting, and which, don't get me wrong, I thought those recruiting skills was excellent. I bought every single recruiting skill for NCAA 14 because it really immersed you into running a football program. But once they got over to, I mean, they started with Mutton, late PS3, Xbox 360. When they got to PS4, they just went all out. And these same casuals that wanted that satisfaction of microwave microwave fun, they just took it over the entire game. So now when you look at players now, the hardcore gamers are sitting here looking like, whatever happened to the Madden bus crew? Whatever happened to the guys who just wanted to play hardcore and actually play a football game? What happened to them was, you guys are being put on the back burner, and we're going to get semi-fake guys like that used to be playing on the Madden bus or whatever, or would have been playing on the Madden bus. We're going to make Madden Championship Series, and when you go watch those Madden Championship Series, these guys are playing like a bunch of cheese. There was like one or two times that I actually saw guys playing straight up.
Well,
Now they're playing like there's one guy who won the Madden Championship. He did nothing but literally run the ball the entire game.
I mean,
Like, nobody does that in real football.
I think we can blame a lot of it on the fact that they came up with a game changer program too.
Oh, I was just about to get into that.
I mean,
Don't worry. We're going to touch on that. Trust me. And it's not to throw shade at the Sim Standard. And I'm pretty sure their podcast about to start now. There's nothing to throw shade at them. But I've been saying this for what, at least a year now. They got hosed.
I mean,
It's a shame that they got had, because they went down there to Florida believing a dream. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we want a better game. But they manipulated those guys. I hate to say it, but they did.
but see, here's the other thing, and it's sad because video games are really the only thing, like the only forum where this shit happens. Like, I tell people all the time,
My son got this bottle and he is gone.
but like I tell people all the time, like the Grammys don't have a fan vote. There's a reason for that.
Right?
The moment that these devs started taking suggestions about how to make a game from motherfuckers who don't know how to make a game,
Well, that's when you know that's when you know it's a major L.
that's when it became it came to the point where they're trying to, I guess the phrase would be, serve too many masters.
Oh, good point.
And that was after they, the higher ups had already found the blueprint, which was put these fucking cards out, we gonna make some money. And
You know what? I've said this before. I think they already had that in place since the late PS3.
Of course.
But what I think they did, they tried to calm people in the sim community down by bringing those guys down there while they did that behind their
Of course
backs.
they did because what they did was they split up their promotion for the game into segments for each specific fan base, right? So then what they do is they don't alienate anybody because the sim people, when you're only getting sim shit thrown at you for an entire hour of a live stream, it feels like a lot of shit, right? What it
Right,
turns out to be is not a lot of shit, but they don't make it seem like that, right? And then, of
right,
course, when they have people down there that are supposed to be representing us that can muzzle us, then it keeps us on the fucking hamster wheel. They don't have to really market as much because motherfuckers gonna play it anyway. They've already built that fan base. They already have that in place. People are gonna buy the game as long as they know that Mutt is in it in some form. They're gonna
yeah,
buy it.
yeah. You're right. You're
So
absolutely
by
right.
splitting up your fan base, much like Call of Duty does with campaign versus multiplayer versus et cetera, when you split up your fan base and basically you market towards each of them individually, then it makes everybody feel as though shit is even. But
Right.
real motherfuckers know, no, it's not all even.
No, you're right. Now let's look at a couple of these couple of these comments that's in the chat because we got a good bit of comments right now. First, we're gonna look at Ravens Nation. He said the best Madden this generation 17, 25, and 19 release date. You need to switch 1 and 2. Madden gets realistic and then they take a step back next year. The only reason why they do that is because the wrong people are they're the wrong people are rating their game or reviewing their games.
Yeah, period.
Yeah, I mean, even back then, when we look at Madden back then, they already had realistic aspects in the game, and nobody never said anything. They just took it for what it was. Like I said, this goes back to what I was saying. We casual gamers who took Madden football and even 2K football for what it was. You okay, baby? All right, come on, you can lay right here. There you go. All right. The ones who took Madden and 2K football for what it was, they got consumed in with the wow factor of the game. And those same people who you can spot them a mile away because the ones who took the wow factor in the game, these are the ones that are complaining about the realism because they want to continue to be that superhero on the field. Why do you think that with Madden 16 everybody was doing a one-handed catch? Because they tried to cater to that crowd. And that same crowd are the same ones they felt that they're going to open their wallets and play MUT. And that's what the real problem was with that. Let's see.
Give me a second, I'll be right back.
No, go ahead. I'm gonna keep doing these comments. King David said Madden 17 coverage mechanics were crazy. The Madden 18 happened. I totally agree. Young Noble, I already know you talking about 2K20. I can't speak for what it was like in the beginning of the season, so I can't say it was trash. But now it plays pretty good in my opinion. Let's see. Quayface, I totally agree. Keep playing old Maddens. That's what I do. Ravens Nation also say I don't think it's going to happen either. I think most gave up a few years ago around Madden 17 and just went to another game to talk about. I think so too. I think a lot of those guys just started to follow on 2K8. I think they did. So I totally agree with that. Doug Thomas talks about Nano Blitz here. He said, do you guys also remember the Nano Blitz people used to run? Yep. I remember that. Late PS3 days, Nano Blitz was a real problem. Chris Thomas, what's going on, man? Great question. Do you think Madden will survive if Mutt was gone?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
goodness.
of course.
Only if it's exclusive. If Madden was if the license was open, Madden would not survive in the state it's in without Mutt.
So
But with them being an exclusive license, Madden will be just fine without Mutt. They just won't rake in all that money, but they will be okay as far as making a profit. That is a really good question.
I mean,
The only way they'll be able to survive if it has to be exclusive. If it was another NFL game around and it didn't have MUT, they'll be done.
Well, here's the thing. So if it would depend because if it wasn't exclusive, I could see them raising their I could see them raising their game and maybe just
That's true.
making a
Make
better
a better
game.
game.
But
That's true.
you know, we won't see it until they're pushed to that point, of course, right? Um, but yeah, I would have to lean towards you and say, well, you know, if it wasn't exclusive, going based on what they're doing now, if they didn't have MUT,
I think they'll be fine, but they won't be. I think they'll survive, but they won't make as much profit. Obviously, I put it like this: they if MUT wasn't around, they would be like NBA Live without the cancellations.
They would need a my player type mode.
I agree, but the perfect example would be NBA Live without the cancellations. I totally agree. That's what it would be. What else we got? Let's see. Ravens, they said they'll make another game. Here's a good comment. Smitty from the Sim Standard says, simply put, Madden has literally spayed and neutered the mindset of the general football gaming crowd. They do small improvements and they're treated like huge leaps. This is almost exactly what we said like 5 or 10 minutes ago. No.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, because the general crowd is your casuals, and what they did was instead of, I mean, because Smitty was around back in the PS2 original Xbox days, the casual gamers accepted the game for what, like when I played Madden 08, when I play that on stream, that's a good football game, and a lot of casual players accepted. They accepted for what it was. I mean, they didn't complain. And, you know, everybody gonna have their gripes. No game is perfect, but it was nowhere near what it was now. And they played the games and they learned how to get better. And there was no wow factor in the games because your wow factor came from the differentiation of ratings. But not to say they don't have them now, but you really saw them back then.
But I can compare this to, and I know people who pay attention to this type of shit will agree. I compare the Madden community to the wrestling community. We were invited into the forum of somebody telling us how shit works, right? And because they tell us little tidbits about how shit works, everybody becomes a fucking game developer. Everybody becomes a booker in wrestling. Everybody becomes a promoter. Right. And that's the issue is like, you don't see magicians telling motherfuckers how they do their tricks. So people continue to show up to magic shows for that very reason. But when you have people who open that door and give folks 2 cents worth of information about how shit really works, everybody thinks they're an expert. And that's really what it comes down to. That's how people become game critics. That's how they start writing newsletters and make millions off of fucking writing about wrestling, and they never did anything within wrestling. It's the same shit. It's like everybody in this day and age has the right to call themselves a fucking expert, but
you have to understand why. You have to understand why. You have to understand why, because you have PVRs, you have,
of course.
You know, you have a way to record videos and put them on YouTube.
You have the forums.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, you have the forums. So everybody's a critic now, and you know what? That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
But more specifically,
that's what I'm saying. The problem is what are you being a critic on? And this is one of the reasons why I stopped doing breakdowns, because it's like, what are we critiquing? Are we understanding why we critiquing it? Are we understanding the direction this game is going? We did this on episode 53. I'll never forget the episode. Episode 53, and we did one recently with Q3 earnings. These guys are making $2 billion. They made $2 billion in microtransactions. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Why in the hell would I stop doing what I'm doing when I'm making that kind of money? And that's not even just with Madden. That's in anything that I'm doing. If I'm doing something that's catering to a crowd that's giving me $2 billion, and I need to stop for what? And I mean, and it's not, you know, it's not the poo-poo on the people who do critique the game that want to make a better sim game, but we have to be realistic and honest to see what's going on. That's why I put the title of this. That's why I put the title of this podcast, Left Behind. We are literally left behind because of that money coming in.
But the people that are breaking down the game, it goes back to my point. They were let in by the developers themselves. They
True.
were given that outlet to where now they feel like they know what they're talking about.
And in some
And a
cases,
lot of
and
times,
in some cases they do.
and a
You
lot
know,
of times they do,
yeah.
but it's like then it starts to become their opinion holds more weight than that of somebody who actually has worked on video games before. And that's why
Well,
I go back to the wrestling thing where it's like, okay, you've never worked in the wrestling business, but people hold your opinion so near and dear based on their specific agenda. If there were people out there breaking down the game saying how great it was, motherfuckers would the casuals would flock to them. It's no different. It's just when you lend somebody that credibility, they automatically feel like they're an expert, and that's part of the issue.
yeah, I mean that's what I said, and like I said, I don't know if Smitty was here earlier. Smitty know I don't pull any punches, and but my thing is, it's like seriously, I feel for them because they went down there with very good intentions. The problem is you had a lot of people upset they went down there because they felt that EA is the devil. That's a whole different issue in itself. These dudes went down there genuinely wanted to make the game better, and when we look at it in hindsight from Madden 13, Madden 25, or whatever the case may be, when we look at it in hindsight, they got sold a bill. They got sold a bad bill of goods. And it's not fair to them to have to do that because they spent their time, they spent their money, they invested a lot into trying to make this game better. And not only them, but we as a community deserve better because it's not just them that got hosed. We all did, regardless if you did not like the fact that they went down to talk to EA or help things with the game. And maybe we're all just video game players at the end of the day, so we didn't have all the knowledge to know what we were talking about when making a football game or making a video game in general. But they represented us, regardless if we didn't like it or not. And you look where it got us. We're in some cases we're still asking for some of the same things we asked back in Madden 13.
Well, because we've said it, they were used as a muzzle.
To an extent, I agree.
It's almost like white politicians who use black people to court the black vote. They're used for a specific reason.
Right.
And look, like you said, their intentions were good.
That is a very good comment, Quayface. I'm gonna put that up in a second.
Yeah, I mean
that's a very good comment.
They had great intentions.
They really did. And like I said, and not only did I talk to Smitty, I've talked to other game changers privately about what they were doing with Madden. And Smitty and SimF Ball and Azure was not lying. They had a group of guys down there who really wanted to make the game sim. You had some developers down there that had ideas that wanted to make the game sim, but we know who really ran the show.
Of course.
And that's the problem. So it's like, once again, it's the reason why I put this topic. I mean, the topic the topic is what it is. We're literally really left behind, and it sucks because going into next generation, when we're talking about possibly more live services, more streaming, more online stuff, are we looking at a situation where it's going to get worse, or is it going to revert back to, or is it going to revert back to what it used to be in the sake of trying to reinvent the wheel? I don't know. As of right now, I don't see it getting any better, and it sucks. Let's look at Quayface's comment real quick. Quayface said, "This is the point. They're making all the money, but they're not putting it back in the game." Now, I'm not saying that they're not putting it back in the game because I honestly don't know, but you can make an argument based on what we see every year the game comes out. We can, we can make an assumption that is probably like maybe 99% true.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I don't think that a gaming engine for that game would cost $2 billion. So I think it's safe to say that they're not putting that money back.
Right. And I mean, even if it's $2 billion off of all the games that they put out, that's a lot of money. You could probably take maybe 10 to 20% of that and put that back in Madden to make a better game.
Huh.
And 20% is like way generous because technology is not that expensive that you have to put 250,000 or even maybe $2 million in. Well, hold on, we said billion with a B, right?
Yeah, would it be?
So 10% is 20 million.
Yeah,
Oh, come on.
exactly.
They could have done. They could have. But this is like you said on the back end. You said no, they have a reason to.
They
They
don't.
really don't have a reason to. Like 2K Football now said that as long as they're exclusive, they're going to be successful. And it sucks, but I feel at this point, honestly, I just feel that I know this might sound controversial.
Oh
I
boy.
felt that this game, because Madden 17 was almost there in my opinion, and I'll still stick with this. I know people gonna look at me crazy. I feel that what Madden 17 had, I felt that Madden 17 was better than APF, and I felt that they could have built on it and could have had a way better game than APF at this point. I don't care what nobody say. I said this when Madden 17 first came out, and people looked at me like I was crazy.
Well,
After a couple patches came out, it wasn't the same. But Madden 17 on release, in my opinion, was better than APF.
I'll be honest. I think every game going all the way back to Madden 17 has been better than APF on release day.
Madden 17 going forward, or just up to
Going
Madden?
forward, yeah,
Okay. I got you.
and Madden 25.
Yeah, Madden 25 is such a good game, though. I love that game. I'm serious. I love that game. That's probably between that and Madden 08 on PS2, maybe Madden 04 on PS2. Those probably like my favorite Maddens going neck and neck.
Like if they
But
stayed the
Madden
course.
04, Madden 04 was like damn near the GOAT,
Oh,
though.
Madden 04. Oh, Madden 04. Madden 04 is my goat as far as Maddens. You know that. So,
Yeah, I was saying Madden 04 was really good.
Ravens said APF has much better defensive game. What?
Hold on, I want to wait till those pop up so I can put them on the screen. Give it a second. But that's just my opinion when it comes to APF. It's like I'm not saying APF is a bad game, and I know it's gonna sound blasphemous because a lot of people they adore 2K football.
They can love that shit all they want to. I'm sorry, bro. I can't be PC about that fucking game, man. People need to stop looking at APF through rose-colored glasses, bro.
Let me jump to this so you can talk. You can say the comment. There it is right there.
So, let me see here. Ravens Nation says APF has much better defensive gameplay to me than Madden 17, even pre-patch 17.
I will say this. I will say that, and I know you agree with me. I agree that APF playbook is way more extensive than Madden's. I will agree to that. But
You think so?
APF has a very deep playbook. Yes.
I think 2K5's playbooks might have been better, but APF has the same one for every team.
That's true. That is true. Even though it's a huge playbook, you're right.
Yeah,
2K5 had different playbooks for different teams. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But no, I mean I disagree with this. I think that up front, yeah, okay, fine. Like as far as the defensive ends and the trenches play, yeah, it was better. As far as the coverage in the secondary, yeah, I'm sorry, you didn't have any guys turning it back in the secondary on Madden 17.
I think APF coverage, the safety coverage could have been better. The cornerback coverage was top notch.
The cornerback coverage was nice until they started route mirroring, which is all they did in man.
Yeah, but I just really thought that the safeties could have been better.
Safeties were tragic.
Yeah, I think the safeties could have been much better than APF. I totally agree. Let's see. I'm gonna get back to that comment, Quayface, in a second. King David said there are AA devs that build fantastic games for less than 10% of Madden profits. Perfect analogy right there. So when they're making $2 billion off microtransactions alone, we're not even talking about game sales. We're just talking about microtransactions. So when you have AA or maybe indie devs that make great games for less than 10, probably less than 2% of Madden profits, that tells you that Madden could have been a much better game. I agree. Let's see. Vic is banned in 04. We know that. This is very true. APF did have great player interaction. That's one thing that does stand out of APF. I totally agree.
Give me 2K5. Give me 2K5's defense over APF any damn day. Of course with sliders, but Jesus Christ! I mean,
Spectacular Pooh said that you need a goal safety to play. You need a goal safety in APF. I do agree with that.
Go a lot of shit.
Let's see. Okay, let's go back to Quayface's comment to circle back to Madden. Quayface said they put Migos in the game before making franchise better. That right there, let me tell you something, to be honest with you. That made me lose all faith in Madden's franchise mode at that point. I'm serious. I stopped, well, quote unquote, caping to make Madden franchise better or doing this crusade to what they call CFM movement or what make franchise great again. Something they was doing. I don't know what it was, but I stopped when they not only that they put the superstar mode in, but when they started building on a new mode outside of an old mode that they had in since we were like kids. They did not build on that mode as much as they did with superstar. That's when I was done. That's when I knew that they don't care about franchise mode, and I just stopped worrying about it at that point. Let's see what else.
That's false.
What's that?
What 2K Football Now said is.
Oh, let me pull that up. APF has much more reliant on user skill on defense than any.
That's so not true.
I don't know, man. He might be right because the CPU is terrible, and that's the problem.
Yeah,
with the safety.
That's but
when
you can't say it in that. You can't say it in that type of sentence. And what he should have said was that the user has to be far better to make up for the shit show defense in the game. Is what he should have said.
I will say it like this: user skill or usering a lot in APF makes the game a lot better.
Bro, I will
say that.
Shit, I wish you could use 11 players.
Yeah,
that game's fucking.
I'm just being dead serious. Like if a pass comes your way, and you have to defend the pass, in some cases, if you let the CPU do their job, the CPU is not going to do their job in some cases. It plays a lot better when you user it. So to 2K Football Now credit, he may be onto something on that.
There are only two aspects of the defense that were good in that game: the defensive line play, and when the ball is in the air, having a different button that you can attack the ball and you can swat the ball. Those are the only aspects.
They had like 3 different buttons. They had a swat button, a catch button, and a random button.
Other than that, the defense in that game was absolutely positively putrid. And
I
didn't
agree.
help you could throw the ball around.
When you let the CPU do what they do, yeah, I agree. That's why I agree with his statement. If you do the user on a lot of stuff in APF, the game you see some beautiful stuff happen in that game.
But
I totally agree with that.
I don't know.
I mean, but don't let I'm dead serious. Don't let the CPU. This is the reason why the safeties are terrible, because when you let the CPU do what they're supposed to do or let them do what they do, you get the terrible stuff. He's right. Like usering makes the game makes the game much better. I agree with that.
But I don't know if it's more reliant on users. I think it's just that's how bad the game is defensively. I don't know if it's that it relies more on users than any other game. I think every other game relies just as much on users. I just think that game is such a shit show. The only way you can make it acceptable on defense is to user certain guys.
It makes you think that if the game was actually programmed for you to user more things than we think we do.
What? Okay, no. Put that next comment.
No, we got some other ones to go to. I can't go back and forth with him.
All right, go.
We'll get to him though. Chris Thomas does say, "Do you think EA made Madden 20 to be their APF?" No, I think Madden 20. Well, I don't know because they do have abilities.
I mean,
but no, I don't think they made it to be their APF. But I think they were trying to put things in the game that APF had with the abilities and stuff. But with Madden 20, with Madden 20, that was long overdue. We have to understand that Madden 08 had that stuff. And that's almost 12, 13 years ago.
I think more so they've gotten to the point where they can implement some things from 2K football, but I wouldn't say that this would be so much the culmination of that. I think they're just slowly finding things that actually worked in that game that they can implement slowly but surely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, when we do look at APF, I think you have to play that game in a different space because you can't play it like we said, like with Madden, there's elements of Madden where non-usering actually helps. And APF is not as much. Like I mean, just like I said, with 2K Football now comment with being more reliant, that actually holds some weight because when you do user more, you get better outcomes. Let's see. Raven Nation said a thing that people forget is that they slowed down the game for APF to 2K5. 2K5 was a faster game. One of the major complaints on 2K5 that the lack of momentum and it was too easy to scramble with the QB. 2K5 was crazy to scramble. Well, I didn't scramble much. What Vic did, he did have his moments. APF scrambling quarterbacks was just that shit was gone.
Well, I mean,
APF scrambling quarterbacks was not there in my opinion. It
well,
was terrible.
the thing was in 2K5 that none of the players really had momentum. It wasn't even so much it wasn't really so much the QBs. I think that naturally the QBs had it easier to scramble because of the lack of momentum.
I think the only momentum that they really had in that game when you actually had bigger players. You can see
Yeah,
momentum switch. You can see momentum shift with offensive linemen, certain tight ends, and definitely if you had a big bruising running back.
but as
You
far
really saw
as
it. But just regular person to person physics, no, you didn't see any momentum.
yeah, but as far as APF, I mean, yeah, I mean they clearly nerfed the scrambling. I don't think that was a mistake.
I
Which
think what they
which
did
why
was
you put Randall Cunningham in the game in that situation for him to be null and void was a complete shit show.
I think what they did with APF, I think APF was trying to they were trying to get you back in a sense of football where the running quarterback wasn't necessarily a prominent. That's why you have all these legends that are in the game. I think they tried to give you a more traditional football game. Now you did have the Randall Cunninghams, and but outside of that, you really didn't have any other scramblers. Even Steve Young, he was a scrambler, but they just didn't program the game to be that way. I
That's
mean,
what I'm saying. They handcuff certain guys that it's like why even put them in the game if you're gonna handcuff them as far as their skill set.
I mean
It was
that's true.
pointless to even pick them.
I mean that is a fair point, but I just think that the game was programmed for to be a traditional style football game because you had a lot more statue quarterbacks in the game than what we really saw. I think
Yeah,
with NFL 2K5, they knew that Mike Vick was like the guy that people
right.
wanted to play with, so they made him a better runner, or they programmed the game so you can actually run a little better. EA Football did a phenomenal job of this in the PS2 era. I mean, you saw how OP Mike Vick was in 04,
Mm.
05, some parts even Madden 06, even to the point where you saw guys like Donovan McNabb, you saw Marcus Vick, you saw other quarterbacks that could move a little bit, was actually able to move very, very well in the
Yeah.
PS2 original Xbox Maddens. They did a phenomenal job with that.
Mm.
So let's see. Um, let's see. I don't see any other comment right now that I like. But nevertheless, let's just circle back to what Madden. Um, get back to the community in general. I mean, I think the left behind crowd are just the old heads that are just basically searching for a game. Is that fair, or is that a fair assessment? And where do we go from there?
Um, I think it's a fair assessment. I think we have to see what they do as far as laying the groundwork with this first year on next gen. I don't care what anybody says about it takes time. I don't want to hear that bullshit. They've supposedly been working on this for years.
We've been hearing the take time stuff since
Yeah,
Madden 25.
I'm tired of that. That shit's worn out. Um, I don't want to hear that. They need to come out just fucking balls to the wall immediately with an impact on next gen, or else it's going to be a clear indication of what we're going to get. And honestly, that has to include a
We
new
need
engine.
we need that NBA 2K14 type of leap.
Yeah.
Because when NBA 2K14 hit the PS4 and the Xbox One, we was like, oh shit, this is a different era. Compared to, you know, compared to Madden, when we saw Madden come out for the PS4, it was basically from 720p to 1080p 60.
Yeah, I mean it's they they're gonna need to have a new fucking engine. There's no way they can carry that engine to this third straight generation of consoles and have that game be where we want it. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I agree.
anything outside of a new engine is going to be the same shit. There's only so much. And look, I'm not a game developer, but let's be honest. We know enough to know that what we've seen in the past 10 years from this game indicates there ain't much they can do on that fucking engine from here on out
Yeah, I agree
to
because
transform this game.
you got to understand that is basically the Xbox 360 engine still
Yeah.
running on this hardware. So I totally agree.
Same movement. There's still catch animations in the game that were in before. There's still tackle animations that they need to take out. The
But
juke
my,
moves have been the same for years.
but see, that's the thing when you look at NBA Live, they're going through the same thing because they still have animations in that game from NBA Live '06 on PS2,
Yeah.
and they're going through the same thing. So, I'm surprised not too many people talk about that. People just play Madden because it's the only game in town. So,
I don't. Optimus Goop. I don't even think it's excuses. They don't even bother to make excuses anymore. They don't give a fuck. They don't.
okay,
They don't even go. They don't even go any great lengths to make excuses.
yeah, I mean, you got to understand that this is the comment that he put. He said they're going to continue with the excuse while driving mud down our throat. Like Bill said, they don't even make excuses for
No,
franchise no more. They you got to understand. They will talk about franchise saying that they added a few things prior to release, but once the game come out, you don't hear nothing else about franchise mode no more.
they don't
You
make
don't hear
excuses. They
about
don't say sorry we couldn't get. They don't even do that anymore.
the only time that they updated Madden franchise because when people had a problem with updating or going to the next week because their online franchise was down, and that's when they made a that's when they made a priority to fix it because some of the abilities was not jiving with some people cloud saves. That's the only time I remember that they actually did something in the franchise mode as far as patches. Outside of that, they'll tell you the things that they added or if they added anything before release, and after that they don't say anything. So I will. I just don't see that the evolution's going to be there, where to maybe visually, but as far as gameplay, I honestly believe if they can't monetize franchise mode, we're going to continue to see what we see.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else with that. I mean, oh, hold on. Pooh asked, why is Madden wasting the Frostbite? And I don't think they're wasting it. I just think the Frostbite engine just don't jive with football games. Frostbite engine is a first-person shooter engine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean that I don't. The only reason why they put that in there so the game will look better. It probably was their gateway to make the game be in 4K faster than just using the engine that they had. So I don't think it's necessarily they're using the Frostbite engine to make gameplay better because that
Visually, I think it helped the lighting.
yeah it did. But when you look at gameplay, Frostbite engine is a first person shooter engine.
Uh,
I didn't expect them to do anything with it to begin with.
right.
Let's talk about these XFL picks before we go. Let me pull up my notepad because
It's gonna be another week. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
just guess, man.
That's what I did last week.
Just guess, man. Just guess. Pull up DJ. Cause he put his picks in the chat.
Yeah, let me find him.
Yeah, I mean he put him in the DM. My hands are full. I have a 25-pound baby on my chest, and I'm using one hand to navigate this. So it's gonna be kind of weird.
Houston, Dallas, St. Louis, and DC. Hold on. Houston,
Okay, let's see.
Dallas, St.
See if I can put
Louis,
this up here right.
DC.
Okay, I'm gonna do it like this. Sheesh. Oh boy, I need to hook up my second monitor. I don't know why I didn't do that. Here we go. All right, great. That's just great. This is so ugly, but it'll work. All right, there we go. All right,
Fuck it.
so week two. I didn't implement these in real quick, so I need to find out who's what. DJ said he went. I think both of y'all went 3-1,
Mm.
and I went 2-2. So
Not bad for a dude who doesn't know shit about this league.
No, not bad at all. So
I guess so.
right now, I love my son so much. I swear I do. Let's see. F. Okay, I went 2-2, so that makes me 5-3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put you down right here, baby. If you fuss, I'm gonna take it to your mama. Nope. He went to sleep. Okay, DJ. DJ went 3-1, so that makes it 6-2.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm
for
just 3-1 because I didn't do
yeah,
any.
Bills
Yeah.
is 3-1. All right, so let's see the next week.
We got Roughnecks and the Vipers, Renegades and the Dragons, Guardians and the Battlehawks.
Okay, week 3. I got holes on one of my picks, man, but that's all right though. All right, week 3, we got. Let me know what they're saying in the chat because I can't see the chats or whatever. So let me know if anything significant comes up.
Yeah, okay.
We got week 3. We have the Roughnecks and the Vipers. We got Renegades and the Sea Dragons, the Guardians
Gotcha.
and the Battlehawks, and we got the Wildcats and the Defenders. You want to go first with your picks?
Yeah, I got the Roughnecks.
Okay, so let's see.
I got the Renegades.
Let's see, Bills.
Let me write them down. Roughnecks, Renegades.
You got Roughnecks is Houston. And you got the Renegades, so that's Dallas. And we also have.
Hold on a second.
Let me pull this up. I could pull this up easily.
Yeah, I got the Guardians and the Defenders.
So you're taking the Guardians and Defenders, so that's NY. And me, I'm going to, and you're taking the Defenders.
Yep.
So that's DC. So that's
So I only got one different than DJ.
Okay, what DJ got?
He got Houston, Dallas, St. Louis, and DC.
Houston,
Dallas, St. Louis, and
St.
DC.
Louis. And obviously, I knew he was going to take DC.
Yeah.
That's his team. So for me,
might be my team at this point. Shit.
I'm taking Houston easily against Tampa Bay Vipers,
Mm-hmm.
which I would not mind. I would not be surprised if that's an upset. Shut up, stupid video. No, I'm not even gonna say the Vipers gonna upset them. I'll say the upset pick would probably be the Seattle Dragons over the Dallas. I'm taking Seattle.
Okay.
And for the Guardians, I'm taking the Battlehawks. I love my team. They got holes last week, but we're not gonna talk about that. Stupid ass offsides call. I'm gonna talk about that. CL. And also I'm gonna take DC. So for me, I'm taking the
Houston, Seattle, St. Louis, and DC.
Yeah, I'm taking Seattle for the upset this week. So that's gonna be my pick. Anybody making a pick out there? I guess we'll
Quayface has Houston, Dallas, St. Louis, and DC, which is the same as.
Okay, Quayface got Houston.
That's
Dallas.
the same as DJ. King David copied my picks. Copycat ass. And,
yeah, so we got okay.
Yeah.
So have you been watching any other games, or you just been?
I only watched DC, so I didn't watch any this past weekend. I was just crazy busy. And then the week before that, I watched DC, which is why I'm pretty much gonna pick them every week.
Yeah, DC is a pretty good team. I mean, to be honest with you, the entire league. I'm not going to say there are any bad teams in the league because they are, but every team actually they're playing pretty good. Tampa Bay laid an egg the first week, and then they turned around and they stepped it up. They played pretty well. Same thing with LA. LA put Josh Johnson in, and they played pretty good as well. So, Doug Thomas says Houston, Dallas, St. Louis, DC. Also, if you're not in the Discord, this is a perfect time to go to the Discord. And for everybody who's making picks, you can put your picks in the Discord, and it's way, way, way much easier to keep track of in the Discord. Because once we back out of this live stream, we're not going to really see them like that anymore. So that'll be a perfect time if you're not on the Discord. Go to the Discord. We even actually have emojis for the team that you may like, and you can use that emoji to show up. You know, you can represent your favorite team with those emojis for each team in the XFL. Great things going on over there, so this is a perfect time to do so. But nevertheless, let's see. Doug Thomas says his team is what? Okay. If Matt Pooh said he's not making any picks, but he said if Matt McGloin is still starting the STO, hey, St. Louis is going to win regardless. we're like damn near. There's an argument that we're like the best team in the league. We had Houston on the ropes. We should have beat Houston until we threw that. Basically, Bills, what happened was one of their players tried to blitz. They blitzed and jumped off sides. We hiked the ball, thinking it was a free play. Just throw the ball up there, and they intercepted the ball, and they ran it back to the other side of the field. They didn't make a touchdown, but they ran it back to the other side of the, really close to the end zone. But if it was a flag, we would have kept the ball with 5 yards. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they didn't call a flag. Like, it was not on the quarterback throwing a pick. He literally thought, okay, I got a free play. I'm just going to toss it up there. Because if you really saw the play, he was clearly offsides. So, I mean, I wonder if I could find that play. I don't want to put it up because I don't want to be hit with a copyright strike or anything.
I wonder what their review or what their challenge.
Oh man, you haven't been watching games. Yo, chat, tell him what the challenge mechanism is like in the XFL. It blows it blows AAF out the window. It's AAF was good, and it's way better than AAF. I mean, I'm pretty sure the chat to tell you, no joke, the challenges are phenomenal. The challenges are really phenomenal. But King David said, yeah, that offside was the first major error because that dude was clean offsides and we just threw the ball up for a free play. But definitely, chat, let them know that the overall the whole game is really good, but the challenges are phenomenal. They're really good. They put the NFL to shame easily, but they do better with the AAF, so they do better than them. So it's really good. Hopefully you can catch a game this weekend and check it out. I definitely will. Yeah, I mean it's a way much better league than it's way much better league than it's made out to be. The first week a lot of people tried to shit on the league and it didn't work. Because the games was just that good.
The ESPN is covering it heavy, so they're doing something right.
Right. ESPN FS1 is actually covering it pretty good. So after the second week, a lot of those naysayers died down, and everybody just got kind of like all the haters went away. Like King David said, that's one thing. I don't know if you remember, Bills, when we talked about the rules. There are no team challenges. Nobody can throw a flag to challenge a play. All the challenges come from the booth. All the challenges come from the booth. And they do a great job. They do a really good job. They have one person to spot the ball anytime they're a tackle. So there's not a bunch of referees trying to figure out where the ball is spotted. One person does that. And they actually have female refs, and the female refs do a real good job.
Unlike the NBA.
Well, let's not talk about that. But yeah, I'm definitely going. I can't wait for week 3. Doug Thomas says it best. I'm loving the XFL. I'm gonna put that up there right there. I'm loving it too. I was actually skeptical because when I thought the XFL was coming back, the only thing I could think of was the bullshit they did back in 2001 or whatever. But they really done a great job. The kickoffs are great. The challenges are good. The players actually can hit, and there's no bullshit calls. Even if it is a bullshit call, they actually review it. Like there was one call in the first week that was like egregious, and it was egregious to the NFL standards. If it was in the NFL, that dude would have got a fine the following week. But they went back to review it. They realized that they used the helmet. They used the shoulder to I think the shoulder hit the chest and the neck area. Because long as you lead with the shoulder, it's fair game, regardless if you hit somebody in the head. The problem is the crown to crown stuff. So what he did, he like chin checked him, hit him in the chin with his shoulder, because his
hmm
shoulder went through his chest into his chin, but they didn't call it. They said it was a legal play, and like we were like looking around like, yeah, by the book it's legal, but if it was in the NFL, that dude would have been fined for like $50,000 the next day.
Oh yeah.
So they're doing a really good job, you know. Ravens Nation also says right here, seeing players hit again is what they love the most about it. Players can hit, you
hmm
know. You know, it's actually pretty good. Spectacular Pooh does a okay job with commenting, but I'm gonna put his up. He said XFL made me forget about free agency is in a month. Um, let's see. Doug Thomas also say he hope it never goes away. Oh, that's another thing, Bills. Vince McMahon is actually pretty smart. Vince McMahon actually had the XFL funded for 3 years. So it's not
Mm.
going to be like an AAF situation where players don't get paid
Right.
for, after the end of the season. Vince McMahon actually funded the season for at least 3 years. So after 3 years, if things ain't going right, he's going to call it quits. But even as a consumer, that's good to know, because we know we're guaranteed for 3 years of good football, or well, just 3 years of alternative football. And I think at the end of the day, I think that's fair for the consumer. At least give us 2 or 3 years, and he gave us three.
I predict that by year 3, they will have a major player from the NFL.
I agree with that. I agree. Especially if, like you said, with ESPN covering it and it's a
Yeah.
big deal on these networks, I think it's going to garner enough steam to say, look, we already got a pretty good brand over here. You might not get the big contract, but you're going to be like the face of the league, and you're going to get a lot of money on the back end with endorsements. You know what I'm saying? So
hmm
it's almost like, oh, I may not get that big contract, but I'm going to get all this other money, probably more money in endorsements than the contract.
Yep.
So you never know, but I'm going to wait till probably like the end of the season, or maybe like week 7 or 8 or something like that. And I'm going to ask how we're going to scale this on 1 to 10, because we first came in the first week, before the first week started, everybody gave it a 6, and then
hmm
after the first week, a lot of people jumped to 8. So it's actually doing all right. So we'll see. Oh, let me put this up here real quick. Ravens Nation said, "Does the panel or chat see a potential XFL video game in the future?" I don't know if you've been on the podcast last week, Bills. I think you was here that day when we actually talked about the rumor of the Vince McMahon and the other guy, I can't remember his name, actually looking for suitors for a game. So that's already out there. But
hmm
obviously Doug Thomas said, give it some time. I think if anything, since they already got a 3 year season going through, we're not going to really see a game until they know. I believe we're not going to see a game until we know that it's going to go beyond 3 years. If they get some confirmation saying that's going to go beyond 3 years, then we'll know that we'll probably see a game for sure then.
hmm
So yeah, but I heard that they're looking for people. They're looking for people to look into a game, but I don't think they'll do it within the 3 year span, because you don't want to make a game and then all of a sudden that the season's not going to go after 3 years. That's going to be kind of whack.
Right.
But I think probably about the middle of the second year, when they got confirmation, like, okay, we may do like 5 seasons or maybe 6, then I think you'll get a game, because it'll be more invested in that game on top of the actual league. So I don't have anything else. Bills, you got anything you want to add lib before we go?
Not really.
Okay, okay.
Not really. None comes into mind.
No, I don't have anything either. I don't have anything. Hold on 1 second. I gotta pull up this ad for Thirst and Gold podcast. These guys have been doing a phenomenal job promoting our they've been promoting our podcast on their channel, and I'm gonna do the same for us. So I'm gonna pull that up, and we're gonna give them a spot on our platform, just the way they do ours. And for the most part, we're gonna call it a day after that. So you don't have anything else? You sure? Anything you want to promote? Anything real quick, or anything on your mind as
Not
far as the topics?
Nah, I don't have anything to promote just yet. Probably will in a week or so.
Okay, okay. Where is okay? All right, guys. I know this is a little off a little bit because I've been doing this lately, but you guys give these guys a shot. Even if you say, "Hey, I'm coming to check out an episode," I was brought over here by First and Frame Rates. That would really appreciate it. Even if you don't really even if you not planning on subscribe to them, at least just go over there and say, hey, look guys, I've learned about you guys from First and Frame Rates, and keep up the good work or whatever. It means a lot because at least they know that we are channeling people to their side and give them a shot to listen to them. It's a podcast about football. They talk about football and different types of beer that you would like to drink all over the world. I know a lot of people may not be beer drinkers, but if it interests you, this is a perfect podcast to go to. I'm not that big on drinks. I don't know what Bill's is, but I'm not that big on it. But it is an interesting podcast, and I actually like what they're doing over there. And for them to promote us without even asking me, they just did it out the blue on their episodes, and they was like, "Hey, we've been doing this. We're gonna give you a promotion to do for us. Can you send us one instead of them just talking about our podcast? They actually have my clip of promoting the podcast now. So I'm gonna pull up their promotion, and I guess we'll call it a day. So this is the Thirst and Gold podcast. Check these guys out when you get a chance.
Do you love NFL football fun and booze? Join us at Thirst and Gold Podcast every Saturday night for weekly NFL coverage, whiskey, bourbon, scotch, and beer reviews. We mix expert football analysis with signature drinks, original segments, and lots of laughs.
Yes, that's right, football fans. Please join us at Thirst and Gold Podcast by heading over to thirstandgold.buzzsprout.com or search Thirst and Gold on the web. If you're tired of boring podcasts, come join our football party.
Once again, I really appreciate those guys just for lending a hand and actually giving us a channel so people can actually listen to us outside of just here. I know they're mostly on Podbeam or iTunes and Sound and Google Podcasts. So I'm pretty sure more people over there that are on the back end of our podcast don't listen to us live. I'm pretty sure I've seen a few extra downloads and extra subscriptions because of they're pushing our podcast, and I really appreciate it. So I know Doug Thomas said he's gonna be checking them out and drinking and football.
Cause he's an alcoholic. That's why.
Yeah, I forgot he likes to drink, right? So he's good. That's right up his alley. Hell, shit, we might not even see him over here no more.
Right.
Or he'll come over here typing all drunk and shit. But yeah, they're every Saturday. Yeah, they're every Saturday. You can check their podcast out. Just hit them up in the search engine as well as hit us up as well. You can, subscribe to both and knock yourselves out. So we really appreciate that. Bills, you don't have anything else, so you're good.
I've been thinking. I really don't have anything else, man.
Yeah, I've been trying to milk it out. Make sure you have anything, but
I don't have shit, bro.
I have, like I said, a few more videos in the works. Don't get me wrong, and I know King David is probably gonna be a little disappointed. I'm still gonna be streaming. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I'm going to be streaming. I'm just not gonna be streaming as much. I do find more success me putting games up after I play them on my YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. It's just that for me working and being a father and having time with my wife, it's not easy for me to just come up here and just stream because I can't have a set schedule. And so I've been seeing a lot of success for when I play the games. And if it's a really good game, I'll put it up on YouTube. I've seen a lot of people, I get a lot of feedback from that because they can actually watch when it comes, at their convenience. And even though we do this live, the convenience thing really plays a big part in what we do. And that's why the iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, even coming back to listen to this on YouTube is very vital because we don't want it to be like with some people on Twitch. Some people don't even archive their stuff sometimes. So if you miss it live, you just miss it. So, but I will be streaming the bowl game. I will say this, the bowl game of my NC State, that's definitely going to be streamed. The recruiting is going to be streamed, and the Raiders postseason and the Raiders drafting is going to be streamed. But I just don't. I just can't have a set time. You know, King David said it perfectly. It's fine. I get to spend time with the family. It takes priority. It does. It really does. But the content's not going anywhere. It's just that I just can't set a schedule. You know, I'm a family man first, and I never thought it was going to consume it as much. So I do appreciate all the support. The videos I've been putting up, the unique videos with the guide books, I got more of that coming. I actually thought about doing some music reviews on the channel. I don't think I'm going to do it. Maybe. But I think I'm going to keep it where it is right now and see where that takes us. That's just something I've been brainstorming. But the game reviews and stuff, I'm definitely going to do that. So I appreciate you guys coming through. Tuesday we will be back with the podcast. I may do the bowl game on Sunday, right before the XFL game. So definitely gonna we play Louisville. They're number 4 in the country. I think we're like number 12 or 13 or something like that. So that's going to be a big game. So be on the lookout for that. I will post when it's actually going to come to fruition, but it's definitely, more likely it's probably going to be on Sunday. So I appreciate you guys. Just keep supporting and spreading the word, man. Also check out Thirst and Gold podcast as well. Those guys, I can't be more thankful for them helping us out. I got a little inside baseball I want to talk to you about, Bills, before we get out of here. And once we get off air though. So you guys, I'll see you guys on Tuesday, possibly Sunday. Look out for some more videos as well. You guys take it easy. Peace.
Stop drinking, Doug Thomas.
No, he can drink. He good.